Have you ever seen the music video of Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger by Daft Punk and thought to yourself, huh, this kind of looks like an anime? Well, that's because it is, and it's kind of good. With the recent breakup of Daft Punk, one of the greatest in dance music history, I thought it was only appropriate to shine the light on an anime that everybody watched but didn't even know existed. Interstella 5555, the story of the secret star system. But with like fives instead of the S's. Just like many of you, I was really curious about the story of the blue-skinned people who were the protagonists of many of Daft Punk's music videos. And it just so happens to be that there is an entire anime movie behind these videos. In fact, the entirety of the 2001 Daft Punk album Discovery has been turned into a 1 hour long movie with the help of Toei Animations and the direction of Leiji Matsumoto, who isn't really that famous or anything. I just put his name in there to make me sound more knowledgeable, but his direction in this film is pretty fly. And at first glance, this might seem just like a long, spacey, fun music video, and most reviews of this seem to think so too. But I believe that this movie is actually showing something deeper, which is the toxicity of the massive corporate music industry. Now, if you didn't watch the movie, this story is actually pretty simple. And if you don't want to be spoiled or just want to hear the analysis or something, you can click the timestamps down in the description below. Now, the story starts with a band of 4 blue-skinned aliens: Octave, Stella, Arpeggius, or Arpeggius, I guess, and Beryl. And they are very much loved on their home planet in a galaxy far, far away. But suddenly some Spec Ops soldiers or something sleep gas everyone and kidnap the band members to bring them to Earth. Yeah. There, their identity and memories are changed, which you would know if you ever watched the really cool animation from Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. And they are sold as what seems to be an industry plans to a big label or something of sorts. Of course, you can imagine that the entire album is actually playing in the background of this movie. It serves as the soundtrack. And there is no dialogue whatsoever. Just music, which makes it really unique, as I don't think I've ever seen this before. Sure, maybe I saw it in individual songs or so, but never a full movie. And it goes without saying that this is done in a very fun and interesting way, so the movie is never really boring. Moving on with the story, there is a guy from their home planet named Shep who is chasing after them on Earth and watches them being used and overworked by the villain and their kidnapper, Mr. Darkwood. How dramatic. Who uses them for his own personal gain, as Shep is trying to find a way to bring them to their senses and take them back home. Soon after, he discovers a way, and with his help, they eventually find out that Mr. Darkwood had a big bad secret up his sleeve. They found out that he's been doing this with bands and musicians from other planets too, and together with the sacrifice of Shep, they bring him down. Throughout all this, it is revealed to the Earthlings that they are in fact aliens, but to their surprise, the Earthlings help them go back to their planet to make music for their people once again. But this time, the Earth has their eyes on them too, filled with support. Now, if you didn't pay attention to what I was saying, this might seem just like a basic feel-good hero story. But if you take into account what I said before, we can see that there is actually something deeper going on within this story. Now, my first question was, what if this story isn't about some secret star system, but instead about a sort of unknown underground scene of artists, where Mr. Darkwood actually represents the greedy big label companies that prey on these original artists just to make music for them. And Shep, the guy trying to save them, is in fact the desire to return to the small scene where they were appreciated for who they were. I mean, this does happen in real life quite a lot, and Daft Punk is a band from the 90s, so they're not a stranger to seeing these things happen, as they had plenty of time to witness this live in action. I mean, maybe I'm talking out of my ass here, but seeing a great band being stolen from their original place and worked to death by a big label only to pump money into their pockets, or being completely misused by their own labels after being promised riches, isn't such an alien occurrence. In fact, it happens to lots of artists that we know today with pop and rap artists, as it happened in the 90s and early 2000s with rock bands mostly. I mean, we do see halfway through that Mr. Darkwood, or the big label company, has done this with many artists from many other planets, changed them and manipulated them for his own gain. Now, being forced to work like that, under contract, blinded by the promise of riches, the only thing that brings them back to their senses is a glimpse of the past that they once loved. I mean, in the movie, Shep literally uses a tool to erase the glasses from their eyes to make them see again. Come on. Well, after they finally realize what's going on, they find Mr. Darkwood's evil lair, and together with the sacrifice of Shep, they reveal his evil plans and have a chance to regain their lost memories and go back home. And all of this to my favorite Daft Punk tune, Viridis Quo. Now that's not Viridis Quo, because I get copy striked, but just imagine this. But to me, this whole sequence looked like a way of them sacrificing their dream of going back to a lost loved past in order to reveal the dark secrets of the label that has been abusing different artists for God knows how long. And in a very bittersweet way, they successfully do so, with in turn also revealing themselves in fact to be aliens to the general public. Or, in a symbolic way, showing that they have abandoned their cooperation with the label that has had them forcefully make music. Of course, they expected the public to be outraged by this, or maybe even sad, but instead they were shocked to see that the people are being very supportive of them, which I see as a way of portraying how fans will stay loyal and support their beloved artists' decisions as they help them return to their roots, being cheered on by old and new fans alike. Now, I would have loved if they actually played the song one more time here at the end, as it was the opener to the entire movie. Also a massive banger, as it would have been a very symbolic way of showing their return and, you know, also a great ending to the movie. But I'm also not mad they didn't do it, because this is a movie that runs on an album, and it maybe would have even felt a little bit weird there at the end. Now at the end, I just want to leave my scores here for this anime, as I do believe that this is something you should watch whether or not you got the story from this video, because it is both a great visual experience, being one of the better things that Toei Animations had animated, as well as a staple and very enjoyable album you should definitely listen to. And it is a story told in a very unique way. As I said, no dialogue, only music. It's not something you see every day, and it can be enjoyed both in a deeper way, but also just for the experience and for the music. Just like I hope that you enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as I'll be making these kinds of videos in the future again. And yeah, so stay tight and see you soon.